Hey, it's Kevin. Welcome back to another No BS social media chat. Today we're talking common sense. I have a lot of people tell me they're not smart enough to understand social media, and I just kind of chuckle. It has nothing to do with smarts. I've talked about hard work, I've talked about working smart, but a lot of it, I think a lot of life has to do with common sense. I have a college degree, I have a high IQ, all those wonderful things. Thankfully, I have common sense. I went to high school with a guy, I'll never forget. His SAT scores were higher, his GPA was higher, I think his IQ was higher, I don't remember. This goes back a bunch of years. But Jim didn't have common sense. Jim was a nice guy, but Jim had a real hard time going through. He was a bookworm, so he was able to study and memorize and do all those things to pass tests. But he was having a tough time in life. He was having a tough time dealing with people. He was having a tough time, well, getting by. Because he truly, and I do mean this, I'm not going to use Jim's last name, and again, I haven't heard from him in 35, 40 years. Jim didn't have any common sense. I think the same thing applies to life. There are people who are self-made millionaires. There are people who don't have high school educations who are worth more than I'll ever be worth in a lifetime. Again, it has nothing to do with education. A lot of it has to do with common sense. If you look at something and say, hey, the sky is blue, common sense would say, I don't care what anybody else is going to tell me. I can look up and see that the sky is blue. And if you're not colorblind, then you pretty much know to go with your gut. Gut instinct, common sense, they're hand in hand. And I think that's important to anything you do. As I've always told people with social media, I wish there was a set of rules that everybody could follow and it would be easy for everybody, but it's not, and there isn't, and there never will be, because the situation, the experience is different for each and every person. But more importantly, I've worked with clients throughout the years who do things that literally drive me crazy, that are absolutely wrong, that are totally against what I ask them to do, what I tell them to do, and they keep doing them, and it works for them. And that's what I'll tell them. As much as my logical brain, my common sense brain says, do not do this. This is the wrong thing to do. I let them do whatever works. And at the end of the day, common sense says, even if it is wrong, if it's working, it may be right. Now, the one thing you have to worry about with that common sense judgment is, let's say you're doing something totally wrong and you've been warned it's totally wrong, but you keep doing it anyway, and then one day it does stop working. Yeah, you can change it at that point if it's not too late. So always look at everything with a good dust of common sense and say, okay, does this make sense to me? Ask your friends, ask your family, ask random people. As I always tell people, the more people you can get involved, the more people you can just ask. When you're not asking anything of them directly, just ask for an opinion. Hey, do you like the look of this? Hey, what do you think? I've had artists I've worked with, I've had media clients I've worked with who get so wrapped up in the minute details, they look past their common sense. At the end of the day, they're focusing more effort and attention on it than anybody else is, because it matters more to them than it does anybody else. And it's tough to tell people you're spending too much time focusing or worrying about something that nobody else will focus or worry about. I know, because it matters to you. Again, a good common sense argument, a good common sense judgment. But in social media, the best brain to have is the common sense brain. Look everything logically, think about it, think it through, and as I've talked before, really, put thought to it. Good common sense thought. Again, you don't have to be a brain surgeon, you don't have to be brilliant, you don't have to have a high IQ, great SAT scores, a college degree, anything like that to be good at social media. I think that's sometimes why young teenage girls are so good at YouTube. They don't think about it, they just do it. And when it works, they do it again, and they do it more. And that's why they're YouTube sensations. That's why they're YouTube stars. Same thing for Twitter. You can engage with people that really maybe not going to matter to you, but you never know 2 or 3 relationships down the road how it connects you to somebody. That's the interesting thing with LinkedIn if you use the professional site. It's about direct connections, but at the same time, if you're a second or third connection to somebody, you never know where that introduction can lead you. Common sense, folks. Back with another No BS social media update. That's good common sense. Next week right here, nobsocial.com is our website. You can view all the videos. You can also find me. My email's coming up. My phone number's coming up. Would love to chat with you. And we'll do that again right here next week.